if I have an instinct on something, I don't get accountants to come and spend days and days analyzing. For instance, when I started Virgin Atlantic, I never got an accounting firm in to see whether or not we'd make money or lose money, because I knew that one accounting firm most likely would come in and give me every reason why we shouldn't do it. Another accounting firm, based on the same figures, could come in and give me every reason why I should do it. I just know that instinctively, if the airline business is shite, and they don't look after you and they don't entertain you, and the people who work for it are not happy, that if I bring in an airline into America, or if I bring an airline into Australia, or if I bring an airline into Britain, that if more people like it than don't like it, that we have a business, and that at the end of the year we'll be able to pay the bills, and that has worked in all three airlines. So, but instinctively, any firm of accountants would say you're mad. You're running a record company. There's no way you can make a success out of the airline business, especially where you've hardly got any money to start it. Leave that to the guys that know about airlines. And even our big rival, British Airways, said that I was too old to rock and roll, too young to fly. You'll be bankrupt within 12 months. And 35 years later, Virgin Atlantic is still going strong. I had a record company. I rang them up and I said, "This is Richard Branson. I didn't say I was 27 years old, but I was. I wonder whether you have any second-hand 747s for sale." And the guy at the other end said, "Who did you say you were?" I said, "I'm Richard Branson. I have a record company called Virgin Records, so they've got the Rolling Stones and Janet Jackson and Sex Pistols and lots of great bands. But I'm fed up flying on other people's airlines, and I'd like to create the kind of airline that I'd like to fly on." And it somehow I managed to hit a little something in this guy called R.J. Wilson's. He was fed up selling planes to British Airways. There was no competitor to British Airways, so they always had him over a barrel. So he said to me, "Look, I would love to see an alternative to British Airways in Britain. I will come along and see you." But he also said that with a name like Virgin, nobody would fly on an airline called Virgin, because they'd all assume that it would never go the whole way. So, but anyway, he came along anyway, and we kept the name Virgin. He gave us our first second-hand 747. I did a deal that if it didn't work out, I could hand the plane back to him at the end of 12 months. As it was, at the end of 12 months, we took 2 more 747s off him, because people love Virgin Atlantic, and Virgin was born. I think, look, what you have an advantage when you're young and enthusiastic and you believe passionately in what you're doing. You can convince people. And I'd left school at 15. I'd started a magazine to campaign against the Vietnamese War. I passionately thought the war was an unjust war. It was killing and maiming thousands of people.
Yes.
And so, ever since then, I've gone into things because I feel passionately about them. And I suppose I've been used to, persuading people into my way of thinking. So somehow or another, I managed to persuade him.